Right here is a painting that I made a couple years ago called Mushroom Head Man. It's a mushroom who has a head, and he's a man. This painting hung in a gallery in Lincoln, Nebraska for a year, and I just brought it home. And every good painting, this is my sci-fi fantasy stuff, needs a good backstory, so I wrote a backstory for this. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I painted it. So it's a triple whammy video that deserves a thumbs up. So here we go. Mushroom Head Man. Once upon a time, two hobbit-like creatures traveled through the dark forest on their way back from being abandoned by their troll escort and protector. 3 days into the 9-day journey, the troll, new to escorting and protecting, lost his confidence and took off back home to save his own skin. Without the troll to guide them, the two creatures had no choice but to head back with their 3 mules in tow. At the end of the journey would have been a market to trade goods, but now they needed to get back, hire a new troll, and start again. It's a good thing we don't pay the trolls until after we reach our destination, Ferribert Proudbottom stated as fact, or we would truly be up a creek. I'm glad he didn't try to rob us, Flavis Grubb replied. Trolls are not known to be thieves or robbers, Ferribert said, but they do have a reputation for being brave, at least most of them. Yes, somehow we got one of the bad ones. He did say he was new to the job. That's how we got him so cheap, Ferribert replied. But now we have to find the path to the river to water our mules and fill our canteens and camp for the night. But I don't recall where the turn is located. With all these trees, it's difficult to see the path where we camped. The path through the forest ran parallel to the river Seine, and the sound of rushing water always filled the air through the trees. But without the path off the main road, getting to the river was impossible, and neither being made a mental note of where they turned before. Then they heard a voice from below and to the right, a low, booming voice that startled both of them. Looking for the path to the river, the voice asked. Both creatures looked down to the right and saw a mushroom-head man looking up at them. It was brightly colored blue and white and wore copper-colored sunglasses. Yes, Flavis replied. We seek the path to the river. Our mules need rest and water. Can you help us find the way? Of course, the mushroom-head man replied, for a price. We don't have any coin or cash with us. All we have is the merchandise we carry on our mules, and I don't see how you can carry any of that, being you are rooted in the soil, Flavis stated as fact. I have my ways, the mushroom-head man replied, and that is not all I can offer. I can also provide a spell of protection that will keep you safe while you travel. And how much does that all cost? Ferribert asked. 3 gold coins for each, was the reply. And how do we know that spell is real, and that it will do anything to protect us? And how do we know the path you find us won't lead us to an ambush of your fellow thieves? You will have to trust me, Mushroomhead replied. What other choice do you have at this point? The two hobbit-like creatures stood and thought for a moment. We could eat you and your friends, Ferribert replied, and our mules may remember the path to the river anyway. We need to trust them. Possible, the mushroom-head man stated, but not likely. Only I know where the trees open to the path to the river, not your beasts. And you will need my protection if you are alone at night. Neither of you will survive until the morning. I told you, we don't carry coin until we sell our goods and return. Unless you are willing to wait for our return trip, the best I can offer would be some spice, handmade tools, and leather goods. What spice do you carry? Mushroom-head man asked. Arrowroot powder, black pepper, ginger, and garlic, Flavis replied, and dried mushroom. Mushroom? The mushroom-head man asked. How awful. Mushroom powder is very popular at the market. It's difficult to harvest unless you know what you're doing. Yes, I know all about mushrooms. I am one, you know. We could get a good price for you, but it takes weeks to dry. You can try to take me, but I have a spell of protection that will keep you at bay. I'd like to test your spell of protection, Flavis said. Maybe we could sell you as a talking mushroom and make even more. You'd make quite the pet. Mushroom Head Man laughed like he heard the most absurd thing in the world. Me? A pet? I may be a mushroom, but I am not your equal. I am more advanced. You two are creatures that will not survive the night in this forest, but I will not only survive, but thrive. Do as you wish, and try to pull me from the ground. You will find your task to be not only difficult, but impossible. Flavis stepped over to the Mushroom Head Man, leaned over and tried to pull the being from the ground, to no avail. I told you. Now be on your way. I can't save you, and it won't be for free, the Mushroom Head Man said. Is there any other way, Ferribert asked, any other way you can put us under the spell of protection? The Mushroom Head Man shook his head and paused. If you can answer a riddle, I would put you under the spell for 2 days. We need 3 days, Ferribert said, alarmed. 2 is all I'm willing to provide. Do you want the riddle or not? The Mushroom Head Man asked. The two creatures looked to each other. Of course, Flavis replied. What gets bigger the more you take away? The Mushroom Head Man asked. A hole, Ferribert replied. My kids know that riddle. Disappointed, the Mushroom Head Man nodded his head and placed a spell of protection on the two hobbit-like creatures and turned away. Begone, he had stated, and ignored them both until they walked away. One more thing, the fungus stated, watching the creatures and their mules leave. Your troll is heading back, and he has company. Flavis turned and looked down at the Mushroom Head Man. What kind of company? More trolls? And how do you know? I can sense it in the ground. Can't you? No, Flavis replied. Of course not. You are not connected to the forest like I am, the fungus replied, laughing. Maybe he got lost and is making his way back like we are. Maybe, but I doubt it. The company he keeps is forcing him back. I think maybe he said something to someone he shouldn't have, and now they are after what you carry. You sure seem to know a lot being stuck in the ground, Flavis said. I don't think I can trust what you are saying. I think you are trying to trick us. I have nothing to gain. Be on your way, but make it quick, and don't camp tonight. If you do, they will catch up with you, and that is something you don't want. We are protected for 2 days, you said. If you don't stop, you may make it back before the spell runs out, the Mushroom Head Man said. Why not do us a favor and make the spell last 3 days? What will it hurt you? Ferribert asked. I will consider your request, but don't plan on it. Now go and quicken your pace and continue through the night. As long as my spell is in place, you won't be harmed, at least for now. That is my backstory on Mushroom Head Man. Now, this painting is currently for sale. I'll sell it to you for $12,000. $12,000. I'll take Venmo and PayPal, and I'll package it up and I'll send it to you. If you stuck with this far through this video, I'm going to put another video right behind it, different painting, and hopefully you'll become a fan, join my fan club, and go through and watch my painting tutorials and listen to my writing. I do appreciate it. Hey, this is Keith from Keith Trim Dragon Art. I'm here with my wife, Cheryl, and we've been watching a lot of tattoo shows on YouTube. And Cheryl has lots of tattoos, and I think my work fits into the tattoo category, even though I don't do tattoos. But tell me about tattoos, Cheryl.
Well, I have 9, and I don't know, I think they're kind of addicting. Like, once you get one, you want to get another one, and another one, and another one, depending on what it is, of course. But
I would think that my stuff would fit in that category, but you know, I share my stuff with the tattoo community, and I get like nothing. I don't know. It's kind of bums me out a little bit. But on the screen here, I'm inking in my shark. It's kind of a cartoony looking shark. I've done a lot of these in my life ever since Jaws came out. I think I drew my first shark. So this is the inking process right here. And watching on the tattoo shows, it's interesting to see how these guys can get this kind of effect with this tiny little needle. And I'm using this big old 1.5-inch brush. And right now I'm putting in my background. I made my ocean blue-green instead of blue. I don't know. I'm just kind of using different colors just for the fun of it. And I'm using this watercolor paper. Here I'm putting in my background, which is kind of a mountain seascape. It's a lot darker on screen now, but it dries lighter, and like you just see right there, it's much lighter. And right now I'm putting in the top of the shark. So I had to go to Google and look up sharks and see how they're colored. They're darker on top and they're lighter on bottom, which makes total sense. If you're looking down at a shark, that kind of matches the ground. If you're looking up at a shark, it kind of matches the sky. So that's what I'm doing. So next, tell me about some of your tattoos.
Well, I have a compass with kind of some watercolor dogwood flowers around it that says, "Not all who wander are lost," which is a quote from, "Not all those who wander are lost," which is a quote from Tolkien, from Lord of the Rings. I have a camera body on my arm with a bunch of other wildflowers and kind of the watercolor style as well.
We got to talk about that real quick. Who did that?
Eddie Goodteacher.
Okay, Eddie Goodteacher. And one thing he did, and Cheryl was discussing this, was he freehanded it, which I think he did.
Yeah.
But he freehanded it onto paper, not onto her skin. And
although I do have a tattoo that Eddie did on my foot that he did freehand onto my skin, and it's like a stargazer lily with some other. See, I have a theme, flowers. But he did freehand the one on my foot. Onto my skin.
The thing about freehanding just kind of kills me. Growing up as an artist, it's like a badge of honor if you can freehand something. And the older I get, the more I think that's just bogus, because I freehand most of my stuff. But there's times I will use a reference photo and I'll just trace it right off the screen. And it doesn't bother me that I do that, because to me, the painting part is the main part. You know, if you can get your image on the canvas easier, who cares? I mean, nobody's going to give me an award for freehanding anything.
Well, the thing about guys like artists like you and Eddie is that you actually draw. You know, I mean, there's a lot of tattoo artists out there who are using iPads and, you know, computer rendered kind of stuff to do their designs, which I guess is, you know, I mean, that's fine. But I think the old school stuff has a different feel to it.
Which is funny, because drawing is something I've always done, but I have to force myself to sit down and draw. I don't draw for fun, which is funny. I just don't. I paint for fun. I enjoy the painting process, but to sit there and just, you know, make myself look at the screen, look at the image, and just scratch it out, it's I won't say it's painful, but it's not as enjoyable. You know, I like, you know, here's my shark. I'm putting in the teeth. And next thing I do is put in my shading. Shading, it's a big deal. Oh my gosh. In tattoo world, shading is huge. It's so funny to me to listen to these guys talk about shading like it's a big deal. I shade in my sleep. You know, it's something I've always done. It comes to me very naturally.
Well, it is a big deal, because if you don't shade, it looks flat. It doesn't look, I mean, it increases the
depth.
Yeah. And it makes it look better when you're actually shading. The camera that I have on my arm, if there was no shading in that, it would look stupid.
But it makes me feel like I'm in 8th grade again. You know, all these adults shading. Oh, he did it in freehand and he shaded. Well, so what? You do that when you're a kid. I don't know.
Yeah, but not everybody has that artist's perspective. I mean, I think it's important to understand that not everybody has the same talents, and maybe they don't understand shading, or no, maybe they can't do it.
It's just the way they talk. They talk like we're in junior high. Anyway, so here I am putting on my first layer of highlights, and my highlights always come in not rows. I'll start with my darker highlights, my medium highlights.
Layers, you do them in layers.
Layers, not what they're gradients. It's gradients or something. So here I am. I'm adding my highlights to my shadows. Without the shadows, your highlights don't work. I'm surprised I didn't mention that in the tattooing. But the thing about tattooing is they use white ink, but I don't think white ink lasts, does it?
I have a daisy tattoo that was done in white ink that does not show up as white anymore.
I don't know what the process is. They kind of use skin color as their whites, and your skin color is kind of, I don't know, about a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10 for brightness or value. It's hard, I think, to get a good light value in a tattoo. And right now my cat is attacking my paintings. Stop that. Hey, hey. So what are we doing here? I added some blue. I backfilled my gray shadows with blue because blue is a very good shadow color. So I'm doing that right now, putting my blues in. Adds another sense of dimension to it. So tell me about some more of your tattoos.
I have my mom's writing on my wrist. It says "Love, Mom." That's probably my favorite one, even though it's like the most simple.
Oh, okay. In this picture, I had to do some boat wrecks. So I just kind of doodled these in. I wasn't going to make a big deal out of it. I did Google some boat wrecks, but I wasn't going to make a huge deal. So they're kind of just there in the bottom just to take up some space. Oh, okay. Here's my submersible. Now, we're being timely with this painting because just recently that submersible imploded. So I thought I would put a submersible in my painting, and it's a super, super simple one. They're easy to do. It's just basically a circle, some light, highlights, and whatnot. Oh, my shark is an evil, so he has to have a red eye. Eyes are tricky, but there's a certain way I do them to give them highlight, shadow, and then you put that all-important eye shine right here. Give me 2 seconds, I'll throw it in. There it is. That's the eye shine. That brings it to life. Without that, your painting sucks. So I'm painting on watercolor paper, which is different than gesso. It has a different feel to it. It dries much faster, but I'm getting used to it. And I like it because it's basically cheap. But coming up here, I have to put some tape on this thing. I was afraid the tape was going to pull paint off the watercolor. Here it is. I'm putting tape on, but it didn't. I just didn't press down too hard. Put a little bit of a shine from the lights here. Sign my name to my painting. Don't click off yet. Make sure you like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. And I need many more followers. I need 1,000 followers and 4,000 hours of watch time. So stick with me and share this with your friends. We're getting down to the end here. This is the final painting. It's a work of art. It belongs in a museum somewhere. I'll sell it to you for $5,000. And thanks for watching.